Paul Sowiak. He is the President of UFO Research New South Wales and has been for some years. His qualifications include a Master of Land Economy, Bachelor of Commerce Economics, Associate Diploma in Valuation, Diploma in Metallurgy, and Certificate in Real Estate. He first became interested in UFOs in 1970 at Picton High School under the guidance of Mr. Ron Gunn, his science and later physics teacher. And when Paul completed his high school certificate at Picton, he joined the Picton UFO Research Group directed by Mr. Gunn himself. Paul then joined UFORQ, UFO, what does that stand for? Incorporate, okay. In 1973, and started a UFO Research Illawarra Group in 1974 as part of the UFORQ network. In 1975, he became a member of ACUFOS, and in 1977 was invited to become a committee member as a training officer. Paul was director of ACUFOS for 5 years until handing the reins over to Mr. Martin Gottschall in 1990. He was co-author with then-wife Cassandra Arnold of the UFO Investigators Manual, a 500-page comprehensive workbook on how to investigate UFOs. This was printed in 1983. He then joined forces with Brian Dickerson and Maura McGee to found the UFO Research New South Wales Group in 1991. They produced a very good newsletter called The Reporter. Today, Paul Sowiak will be speaking on alien intelligence. Where do ufologists go from here in the 1900s to the next millennium? Paul hopes his paper will set the parameter and direction for future UFO research into the year 2000 and beyond for the greatest question facing humanity. Who are we? Who we are? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Sowiak.
Okay, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a great pleasure to be here and to talk about my favourite subject. Okay, what I'm going to be talking about is alien intelligence beyond abductions. I'm going to cover a lot of ground in a very, very short period of time. So what I'm going to do is to give you a sort of overview of what I'm going to talk about and then start talking about it. Okay. The concept that I'm trying to get across is this. UFO equals God, not a super being, right, but into the collective consciousness of humanity, which equals the creator of man, containers or alien property. Okay? God is an alien, a grey, either can be a dinosaur and ET working together. Okay, got a concept? UFO equals God equals creator. Now, how does this actually work, or how does it actually come together? Is that you've got the alien, you've got mankind, and you've got God. Okay? What I'm trying to talk to you about today, or communicate with you, is that aliens equals mankind, which is matter and a soul, which equals God. Okay? Now, aliens are God. Right? They've made that link. Okay? Now, aliens, mankind, I've got the wrong spot. Mankind hasn't got the link to God. Okay? Now, what I'm trying to talk to you about is how mankind becomes God. And the way he becomes God, he knows right from wrong, he improves his spiritual freedom, takes personal control, be human and have fun, and be fair and equitable. Okay? And why is mankind not God? The reason he's not God is that aliens are manipulating and controlling man through religion, through hierarchical order, a system of management, creating in us the conflict, war, killer type instinct. And if we disobey those manipulations or controls, we have devastating things happen to us. Floods, plagues and famines. Are you all with me? This is a bit heavy, but we'll see what we can do, alright? Okay. Ancient astronauts. I'm going to talk about ancient astronaut evidence. Man's development of his brain. Man's control, religion, floods, plagues, and the daily work's too hard. So he's got no time to think about ethereal things, right? And that's where his spiritual development gets sidetracked. Man is manipulated through war types, conflict, hierarchical system, serfs and feudal systems were created under such systems. It works now under the brotherhood of the serpent, contactees, abductees, and no sense of the self, knowing right from wrong. Are you with me? Okay? Alright. Is that okay? Alright, thank you. Alright. It's a pity the rest of the world is a little bit behind us. It's only on August 19th we're starting to accept that maybe life exists elsewhere in the world. By magazine. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, unfortunately, because of the time constraints. Okay. On the sixth day, God said, "Let's make man in our image, after our likeness, and then have them have domain over the earth and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." And that's from Genesis. Human beings are very varied individuals and creatures. And it doesn't make much sense that over evolution we seem to have so many different creeds and races and bits and pieces. If you look at this overhead here, you can see you've got your Australoid, your Mongoloid, your Negroid and Castroid. Okay? And you look at that, you can see that they are different looking species, aren't they? But we're all part of the same species called Homo sapien. And the reason we all are is that we all can reproduce and produce offspring. So therefore we are of the same species. Okay. Doug Moffat was talking about the typical humanoid structure with the two arms, the two legs, the eyes and the ears with forward perception, with the brain fairly close to those primary senses, the eyes and ears. Okay? Now other animals that have that same sort of fit are your dinosaurs and perhaps your apes to a certain extent. Barclay states there are 312 distinctive physical traits that set man apart from the so-called ape cousins. 312, it's a lot, isn't it? Okay. Now, if we look at the evolution of man, it's been quite remarkable. Man started off as an ape of 350 cc's of capacity brain. Okay? If you take evolution to Darwin's theory of natural selection. Then it became Australopithecus, averaged 550 cc's. Then Homo habilis, 750 cc's. Then Erectus was a big change, 850 to 900 cc's. And then all of a sudden, Homo sapien appeared with a brain of 14 to 1600 cc's. But his lifestyle didn't change dramatically. The planetary system that regulates the brain size, which is gravitational forces, hadn't changed. But all of a sudden, we're up to 600 cc's of brain capacity, of which today, unfortunately, we still don't use. Okay. Ages and chaos. Let's look at the information. Pyramids in Egypt, Mexico and China, the Sphinx, Atlantis, Nazca Plains. Mayan calendar, Piri maps, Zimbabwe royal residence, the Maltese Hoboken, Cusco, the fort of Sanahamu, water conduits of Tiniapu, are all signs of divine influence of some kind. How could primitive men build such monuments? And why upwards? Probably a function of man's individuality. Some look upwards, some look straight ahead, and some look downwards. Obviously the upward ones build pyramids. That's a joke. Okay, so what motivated man or controlled the human race in a big way 4 to 5,000 BC to spend a number of lifetimes building these pyramids? We're talking 13-acre base pyramids. This is big. Okay? Now, the UFO fraternity of truth seekers has failed to comprehend what von Däniken exposed in 1968 with the provision of the ancient astronaut evidence. Right? In the 90 period of human civilization, I believe has become the critical turning point for ufology because of the information explosion in the 80s cannot continue to keep the lid on the UFO cover-up, which is too much for too long. As Democritus said, nothing exists except atoms and empty space. Everything else is opinion. Okay. We go to, we're on page 4 if you're looking, if someone's got those notes. That's some I've passed up here earlier. Okay. You still with me? Good. Can you read this? Yes. Okay, 45,000 BC, cave paintings. Ezekiel 593 BC. 1560, round cylindrical objects are seen. 1897, great airship, black. What are the comments here? Man's knowledge or understanding of communications received, no comprehension. Interest, indifferent. You didn't understand what's going on there. Tunguska explosion, no comprehension. 1920s.
Put it down.
Core sightings record. Einstein, time is equal to space, unified field theory starting coming to evolution. 1930s, airship and atomic bomb development. A new age, improved publications, newsprints, started by information overload. No thinking, just still living it up. That's mankind. Party food. '40s, flying saucer was coined. Foo Fighters. There's some a bit of camouflage about what's going on, right? There's a bit of enlightenment atomic bombs and atoms and how they work. In 1950s, natural phenomena, clouds, camouflage, trying to explain the UFO phenomenon away as natural phenomena. 1960s, physical traces. We're getting better at understanding what's going on in this phenomenon. Technocrats, IFOs, distant interaction, cultural curiosity. We're starting to get a bit curious about these UFOs, what's going on, right? Grid system and energy. 1970s, we start looking at entities, but it's a cultural taboo, so we're not going to do a great deal in that area. Then you've got Orange Foo Fighters in the 80s, also cultural taboo. What do they mean? What's it all about? And then in the 90s, we started to realise, well, those entities we saw in the 70s have to start to be looked at a bit more seriously. Okay? And we had close interaction, recognising the cultural taboos and pushed them aside. Now, 2000, intraterrestrial, extraterrestrial debate. Where do they come from? Right? And 2010, who controls Earth? Whether it's us or them. You with me? Good. Okay, the cultural man. Culture is the way we sort of do things, our mannerisms, our behaviour, the way we go about thinking, and the mannerism in which we do things. And structures our assumptions about reality. Human culture and alien culture may or may not be similar. If, as I believe, there has been a relationship between aliens and man over centuries, be it master, servant or other, then culture should merge in the 20th century, though perhaps totally dissimilar in 2000 BC. So what the aliens are like and what we're like are becoming very, very similar. Very interesting stuff as well. Okay. Abduction, contactees. What are their prophecies? What do they say? What information are we getting, or misinformation? 1952, Park, Arizona. Now, where do they come from? George Adamski. Oh, Venus, second planet on another system. Too many booms. We'll destroy all of us, meaning Earth. Aliens live according to the will of the Creator, not by their own personal will, as we do here on Earth. These are quotations from contactees, right? Or abductions. 1976, I was told a white fog comes over from the upper left side of the Earth. Okay, it's going to be a climatic event. Perhaps an atomic explosion similar to the first atomic bomb in 1945. In this context, in this abduction, Jason Howard, 17 at the time, 1 month before his 40th birthday, was a prediction that they would have this climatic event occur. 1987, video cameras stave off abductions. They don't want to be filmed. Kerry Morgan, 1992, in Jacobs. 1988, tall being communicated. You mean they're growing babies to be workers? Yes. Okay, Lynn Miller, 32, from Secret Life, Jacobs. 1994, Wollongong. Contactee, 16th of March 1996, Casino, New South Wales. We are not your friends. Saw boxes of human parts. Scott and Wendy Langley, recently, on Channel 7. Okay, that's what they've been communicating. Okay, the abduction experience. Ufology is focused on abduction experience, which is filled with lies and deceptions, typical of the phenomena itself. Perhaps Freud, altered states of consciousness, is humanity's abduction experience, melding science and psychic. The reality of which is based on the human psychic, the great unconscious, or if you prefer, the cosmological consciousness of humanity. Abductors are trying to be God. If this is true, then preserving alien anonymity is critical to their game plan. In abductions, aliens seem to be providing screen memories and amnesia to the events of the abductions. But often said that the aliens, when they do their abductions, are fairly ethical. They seem not to hurt or harm the abductees. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. A conundrum exists that on one hand the aliens have mesmerised by human emotions of tenderness, aggression, but on the other, if they created us as proposed in the Sumerian creation stories, aliens need to keep the spirit, soul, attached to the body for humans to perform our tasks for them. This suggests that alien intelligence would know a great deal about human psychology. When Betty Barney Hill had her abduction, this is back on 19th of September 1961, there was references to a mythological metaphor talking about the rise of the phoenix, right? Now, Betty didn't understand what this meant, right? But it appears that, as Barclay states, from this can only be concluded that the UFO occupants want us to take them as being God. Part of the alien intelligence is preoccupied with impact on humanity and deliberate deception to inculcate belief in the UFO religious context. Some years ago, when I was writing the manual with my ex-wife, we looked at similarities between UFOs, fairy stories and religion. And we came up with a few common grounds. Some of those common grounds were aerial origin. They travel in discs, some travel in carriages, some travel in chariots. They materialised and dematerialised across the three groups. Abducted men across the three groups. Distorted time across the three groups. Caused rings on two of the groups that are not in the religious area. Right? Promise to return. There's a lot of similarities there, people. A lot. Alternative viewpoint. David Barclay suggests the history of vertebrates evolution based on A.J. Desmond's research on hot-blooded dinosaurs places the development of mammals traditionally after amphibians, alternatively after dinosaurs. Placing man's evolution from dinosaurs and not from amphibians is a reasonable proposition. You've got the evolution here and the various periods. You've got your fish, amphibians, and then you've got your reptiles, and then you've got mammals. As it is now, this is how current science stands. It has mammals before reptiles. But I think there's enough evidence to suggest it's the other way around. And the reason for this being significant is that Barclay suggests that dinosaurs rule the Earth, that they live within caverns within the Earth, still to this day, and are part of the UFO phenomenon. The hollow Earth hypothesis, and we're talking about satellites, pictures, EWSA-3 and 7 in 1967 and 1968 as some supporting evidence. I didn't think too much about this. I thought, okay, this is possible. It means we come from reptiles. There's a lot of relationships between mammals and reptiles, or at least man and reptiles to a certain extent, in terms of bone structure and developments. However, last night when I was writing this part of the paper, I looked at features, reptiles and dinosaurs, and aliens. Okay, where are they seen? Reptiles or dinosaurs in established territories. Aliens in established territories. Inside crafts, shining lights, bench tables. Not outside, you don't see many entities outside crafts. It's not very well recorded. Okay, reaction to change. Reptiles are very slow to move. Aliens, slow reptilian pace. If the abductee tries to escape, the alien attendants do nothing, but the aliens capture the human in a slow, methodical manner. Aliens have not been recorded to run or chase after anything in any of the case books. Sensitivity to energy. Reptiles go to a nice warm place in the sun, curl up, don't they? Aliens move towards some things and away from others. Aliens stand in groups, away from humans, wherever possible, and near bright light areas. You don't see or have recorded aliens being in dark shadows or darkness. Emotions. Reptiles, sterile. Clinical, yes, no. Aliens, sterile, clinical, yes, no. There's no grey areas in thinking. Aliens are astonished by human emotions caused by alien intervention, fear, anger and awe, as Hopkins pointed out. Defence mechanisms. What they do in reptiles is they intimidate their opponents. What do aliens do? They intimidate. If that doesn't work, they go into telepathy and mind power. Physical eye. On reptiles, you have a second eyelid, which covers for dust. And I believe some aliens have been recorded to having the same sort of facility, if you look at the alien autopsy film. Okay, intelligence brain. Now this is the real pincher. Reptilian brain's primal brain creates patterns, habits, routines, instinctive behaviour, as well as a sense of territory safety. Okay? Alien brain has the reptilian brain. It probably has the neocortex like man, which is the left and right hemisphere for rational association, visual image, institutionally understanding something. But aliens, I think, I'm proposing here, do not have the limbic system where chemicals react with the brain to provide us with emotions. And that's why they're very interested in this particular area. So you start to see there's some sort of relationship. So when I start looking at that, I start looking at Barclay's work again and saying dinosaurs may well be part of the alien phenomenon. Okay, hang on time. If UFOs exist, and they do, when whatever drives around in them will be pursuing its own interest. Okay, the recent abduction experience of Scott Longley, as an example of that, we talked about that. Okay. William Bramley, who's written this book, The Gods of Gods, I recommend that to everybody to read, it's a very good book, on the human history. He talks about and proposes that Homo sapien was created in a test tube by a custodial society. They had 3 failures before them, they destroyed them totally. And these are all in the creation text, this information. And it was created in the Mesopotamia region about 5 to 4000 BC. And a typical of Sumatran type civilization. Point 2, mankind was developed to work for the aliens. Not unlike what we're thinking about doing now with clones, to create spare parts for the humans, or humanity. Okay, but they would not did not succeed, they had three failures, unless they had a soul or spirit energy. Should man keep developing his soul and become spiritual, he would become God, or equivalent to aliens who created him. This is a great concern to aliens, and stunt development of human souls and deprive man of his human or spiritual rights. Ignorance is bliss, and productivity for aliens. Okay, in the Gardens of Eden, he's saying that the original sin was a quest for knowledge, not an apple. Okay, how has man been manipulated? He's been programmed to have conflict, fight and war between his neighbours, because if man unites and is peaceful, then the alien empire would have a major problem of controlling us. We're aged. From the day we are born, we have genes and chromosomes that have an aging factor in them, so that we have a short lifespan. We struggle daily, fairly hard, to have an existence, so we don't have time to sit around and think about the world and what's going on. We've become materialistic, so even our emotions have some sort of physical change, one area to another. The only salvation is you should enjoy God and nothing else. Be completely obedient to God in the hierarchical structure of serfdom and feudalism or monarchy. There was an assassins group that actually were mind controlled to go and do assassinating work, hence the name, and we've picked it up. If you don't do this, then you're going to have the apocalypse judgment, the scenario, the whole thing is going to be destroyed. Right? So spiritual development, or development of the mind, is something the aliens don't want us to do. How? We've done this through, back in ancient civilizations, God has actually lived here on the earth. If we take the gods to be aliens, they interrelated with humans that they created, or clones if you like. And obviously they were the ruling class, and they had a priesthood around that ruling class. When the aliens died, the priesthood continued, and you had the Brotherhood of the Serpent, which has gone down through the ages to different sorts of religion. Freemasons, Knights of the Templar, Hospitallate Knights, Zoroaster, Rosicrucians, Illuminati, Lutherans, Calvinisms, and the various churches. The main belief system handed down was materialism, and the belief that everything, including thought and emotions, can be explained entirely by movement and changes in physical matter. Consequently, we haven't gone to that psychic stage. Okay, archetypes. This is where we're talking about synchronicity, which was developed in 1952. It basically means you have two unrelated events, and by chance they're working together. And this is how Jung explained the UFO phenomena. There was a stimulus, a light in the sky, or a planet misidentified, or IFO, and as a consequence, we came up with a creative consciousness that it was a UFO, and made up the alien abduction scenario and everything that goes with it. Okay, there's two factors that need to be in place for this to work. It's got to be unconscious, so we're not aware of it, and it's got to be simultaneous. In the UFO abductions, the usual stimulus transfixes the abductee by a strange and unexpected appearance. Paralysis is caused by a massive flow of energy into the abductee's internal archetypal system by external, and then works in unison to create the rate of the archetype experience. You don't know about that. Okay. All right, moving along. How much time have I got? Okay, consequently. Valley, one of the prolific writers and scientists in the ufological area, came up with a book called The Psychic Solution to UFOs. And this was in about 1975. And what he said was that the UFOs were a psychic phenomenon. Okay? I'm going to go one step further. He was saying that if you take desensitizing material like I've got in this graph here, of the number of UFO sightings per date, you get this flattened effect, and you get a number of bumps. And he's saying that each one of those bumps represents a reinforcement of what the aliens want us to understand, to become obedient. And as you know, with Pavlov dogs and training, reinforcement, if you can get a pigeon to press a lever to get food, and he gets food when he presses the lever, he'll continue to do that. If the reinforcement is unperiodical, in other words, it's random, that reinforcement will be stronger. And Valley suggests that we are being controlled, mankind is being controlled and manipulated by aliens, by the number of sightings and the abduction experience and contactees to a certain extent. Changing man's behaviour and belief systems with a higher image of man has major repercussions on the future. Okay. UFO phenomena analysis is like playing with 3 decks of cards. One deck is science, the second deck is the aliens, and the third deck is government intervention. In addition, the observers or experiencer have 3 levels of perception: the mind, the body, and the soul. And there's a lot of variables. And in that deck, you've got 12 aces, haven't you? So even if you have 4 aces, you still haven't got a full hand. You can't win the game because you've got so many variables. In this confusion and disinformation, deception and disillusionment, we the ufologists need to sort out the truth from the fable. The real problem facing contemporary ufology is understanding the human psychic, mind-body-soul interaction. When we looked at the alien autopsy film recently, there was a crack at the universe. Ufologists actually started working well and started analysing and coming up with the right answers across the world, which must obviously scare the aliens and government to a certain extent. Penetrating the cover-up, camouflage, and correctly interpreting the true nature of the phenomena could be the final stage of man's evolution. And that was written right here. I recommend to you that you read Valley, Keel, Barclay, the Bible, and William Brantley's Gods of Eden, where he gives an outline of human history from this perspective of manipulation and control by aliens. This is what he said. The grimmest realities ever confronted by the human race. I began my research, I had a bias about what I expected to find. Human profit motive as the common thread, which links the various third-party influences influencing mankind's violent history. What I found was the UFO. Investigation of the UFO phenomena from a physical stance has had its day. As Valley explained, if you got all the spoons that Uri Geller has bent and studied them intensely, you wouldn't have a solution. The UFO phenomena is metalogical, not metaphysical. It's in myths, it's in symbols, it's in language, the mythology outside the reality box, our essence of existence, and what we think. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any questions for Paul? I can't believe there's no questions for that.
Yes.
Yes, there's one right over there, Paul.
So, Paul, we're controlled by aliens, and the aliens are concerned about nuclear weapons, as in nuclear aid, and that we should live in peace. Why is it that if they control us, they let these wars go on, like Middle East wars and wars around the world go on?
Okay. If you buy what I'm saying, right, we are equal. We are gods. Right? UFO God, creator of man. Alien mankind God. Okay? All it is that we don't know that we're God. Or we have the same abilities to be gods. Until we develop our psychic knowledge and understanding, we cannot be gods. And while we're in that throes of transforming, because we are in the same likeness as God, we're made from the same chromosomes, most probably, a clone. So that when you say we're in control, they're in control of us. They're losing control of us as our technology develops and as we develop into the next millennium. However, if our thinking stays materialistic, right, and doesn't expand into the spiritual world, then they will still have control of us. Now, what was your question about bomb?
About wars. They control us. Can't they wipe out war? If they can come down and manipulate human beings, can't they manipulate people to stop fighting in wars?
They want us to fight in war because there's disunity. So we won't then get back to the main issue here, which is aliens and us. Right? While we're fighting against each other, you know, split and divide and win. That's what they're doing.
So you believe, like, it's your belief there, that it's more the aliens than mankind itself, then the aliens trying to stop what's going on.
Development of mankind. Aliens are not interested in stopping it. Aliens flooded the earth and nearly killed the whole population, if you believe Noah's Ark. And only a very small portion of the population survived and multiplied. Right? Then there was the plague. Now that may well be biological weapons used by aliens. Right? Because it just appeared out of nowhere and occurs with mists and associated with foul smell. Right? That occurred one night from the next and then disappeared. Okay? Sounds like biological warfare. Okay? So they're quite happy to annihilate us. So if they've ingrained into the humanity this violence and this conflict mannerism of thinking, then they're quite happy, because while we're doing that, we'll never contest them, the aliens, and what their pursuits are. We are upsetting them now because we're now going to alien abductions, research, and we're starting to get a bit more of a finger on the pulse of what are these aliens doing with these abductions? What's it all about? What are they doing? How can they pick this person out of this room and take them away for 2 hours and bring them back? Who gives them the right to do that? Right? Who allows them to do this? Right? And while we build up our rights and understanding of who we are as humans, we're starting to approach this. I'm not saying who created the universe. There may well be a God. But at this point in discussions, I'm saying who created us were aliens, right? In the likeness of themselves, most probably a clone, and we have the same capacities as the aliens. Right? But while we're fighting and mongering amongst each other, which they plot to do, because they created most of the religions on earth, and by having a large number of factions and the fanaticism that goes with religion, then they keep on fighting each other. And if you look at the Crusades, they're a brilliant example. But we're getting smarter. We're getting sick of fighting and killing each other. You notice the number of wars sort of start to fall off? You know, the walls of Russia have dropped down. They used to be the big enemy. There's no big enemies anymore. Well, there is one. Okay? Next question. Yes? Sorry?
What was the reason for tying the reptiles with the aliens?
Oh, the reason for tying them, it appears that, if you believe what Barclay has said, that aliens may well be a dinosaur race of civilization. They developed 350 million years ago. We only developed 200 million years ago. So they've got 150 million years on us in development. So they have more time to build technology and infrastructure and alien intelligence, if you like. So they well could be dominating or part of this scenario. If you look at the abduction cases, there's a number of reptilian descriptions in the scenario. So what I suggested in my talk is that they're working together. Okay? I'm not still convinced about the hollow earth position. Where they do and what they do, I'm not sure. Right? But there seems to be some sort of relationship there. And until I looked at the reptilian and the alien profiles, that clinched it for me that there is definitely a relationship there. They may be one and the same, or they may be different. Yes?
Do you have accounts that prove to raise the reptilians and the praying mantis in together as free types, or only the two types?
So I don't follow that.
Talking about the reptilians and the greys, do you
Yes.
get accounts where the praying mantis type is connected with the other two, or are they separate?
Okay, so we're talking about amphibian, reptile, and alien. No, I'm not looking at that. Over there?
What's the point of the aliens causing all these problems for us if they created us in the first place? I mean, if they want to wipe us out, why didn't they wipe us out? I mean, especially when say like when you're talking about Noah, and the population must have been so low after that, why didn't they just finish us off? I can't see the relationship between us and the aliens. If they wanted to kill us, why did they produce us in the first place? What's the whole point of doing this?
And for you to adopt people.
Well, I haven't got all the answers, right?
I understand. I know, it's just a point. I'm just trying to wonder why.
Maybe they took pity on us. They said if you could survive that, we'll give you another go. Right?
Well,
Or they thought we were so small, oh, don't worry about them, they won't be around too much longer.
it just seems pointless.
Or we're to the caretaker, perhaps, I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Not really.
Okay, say it again.
Well, I'm just wondering why, if you have an alien
Yep.
and you have, we're talking about maybe mankind equaling God, that we
Yes.
have the same abilities to be like the aliens are, and you're saying that the aliens maybe have created us, then why are they trying to stop us being like them? Why did they create us in the first place? What are they doing? Why are we?
I could probably answer.
Why is it happening?
Okay, the reason they created us, look at the abduction information, it may be misinformation, right?
If they created us, why do they not kill us?
Well, apparently they need our babies for some reason. If you believe what the abductees are saying, right? That's well, to do some work. What it is, I'm not sure.
If they had the ability to create us in the first place, though, they would surely have the ability to create babies without. All right, maybe they're using us like an animal to create babies to populate another world.
Well, we're now talking about doing genetic engineering to engineer and clone various food products, food staples, right? We're looking about putting human genes in with pig genes to create better pigs for consumption. Okay? So if we're doing that now in 1996, right? We know that the human body fails after a period of time. If we could replace some of the organs or major parts, then we're now starting to think of creating clones specifically as a spare parts bank. And we're talking about doing that ourselves now, in 1996. So maybe in 2050 we were doing it. Right? Now, if we're thinking of doing that, maybe the aliens thought about it at 5000 BC. And they started us up as a clone in their likeness, with their genes and basic appearance, for spare parts, I don't know. Right? But we're talking about using our logic to try and understand what's going on. I think we have to do a lot more research in this area and start looking at the psychic phenomena and try and work out what's going on. But I think I've given you some more clues than you've probably got out of your research over the years. Now, I stuck my neck out on the line here. I've always backed away from the religious position, right? Back in '82 when I wrote the manual, that table was there, right? But I didn't like the implications, okay? But I'm now coming to the conclusion that if in this abduction here, Jason is right, we've only got another 3 years to go, well maybe it's time we started working out what's going on here. And the abduction scenario doesn't really make a great deal of sense. Right? Why are human beings being abducted? Why are they specifically earmarking the reproductive areas?
Paul?
Why are they got fetuses and they're taken away?
We haven't got any more time.
Okay.
Sorry about that. We'll have to cut it there because we've got a lot of people waiting outside. But would you please thank Paul? Paul, very controversial, but good on you, Paul.